Welcome back to our podcast, Cynchranici-Tea, where we know that nothing is a coincidence, and thus everything is intentional. This is episode 28, where I am about to bare my soul. I think I will bare my soul on this podcast now. So funny. As if I haven't been doing that. I haven't been. Because this podcast is specifically going to be me talking about my family. And this is, of course, nothing personal against my family. The point of this is to be relatable. All right. As in, the point of this is to show the difference between people in physical reality and people in spiritual reality. And considering, there's way less spiritual people on the world than physical people, this phenomenon of trying to think how to put this, basically, like, it's physicality versus spirituality. Like, that's what it is in every dimension, in all realms, in all life and time. And it's that because, simply put, the spirit is the observer. It is nothing. The physical reality is the structure. It is the thing that the observer is building to represent its imagination, right? So this is why your ego is not your body, but your ego is really invested in your body, right? So your body is your physical reality. Your body is a structure that you built to connect with other spaces outside of yourself. Otherwise, your space would be alone, right? So if you're scared of dying, that's because you're scared of being alone. And it shows that you want to stay connected to something outside of yourself, because that is what's allowing you to communicate with spaces outside of yourself. Now, that being said, when you die, you actually become more free because your mind is the airy body that you're using to communicate into the earthly body that is grounding your consciousness, right? This is why you have to know you're not your body. You, as the observer, created an atmosphere. So when you, as the observer, created this atmosphere can bring to life anything. And that's what your body is, right? So my body, your body, everyone's body is being brought to life by their mental atmosphere purposefully choosing to beat a heart and breathe oxygen. Objectively, this is basic alchemical science, basic hermeticism, just basic life of why we are able to operate these bodies at all. Okay, so it is about you knowing that spiritually you are creating the circumstance to connect with spaces outside of yourself. That is what consent is. This is why your soul is so important to know about. If you don't know that you have a soul, then you functionally don't know that you are consenting to connect with spaces outside of yourself. The moment you feel like you don't have a soul, guess what that brings you to? Victim mode. You feel like you have to be a victim. When you feel like you don't have a soul, you feel like you are not the God that is creating your ability to connect with others, which literally then manifests as you feeling like a victim. Like, that literally manifests as you feeling like you are not in control of the circumstances that you're in, objectively. And then that's because in physical reality, you're technically not, right? In physical reality, you're not in control of anyone outside of yourself. In spiritual reality, you're in control of everything outside of yourself, because nothing is outside of yourself. Boom. You see that? You can't control spaces outside of yourself, but you can control everything outside of yourself when you're in your own space. That's you as God. You can imagine anything and do anything in your own space. The moment you connect that with spaces outside of yourself, now we get compromised, right? This is the point of the vibration, right? Water kills fire. Your soul kills your ego. That's Zoroastrianism right there. Just some, mind of Metatron, Mercury things. All right. We're just talking about how the universe is created so that you can see my perspective when I am communicating about the world that we're in. Because once you can see my perspective as I'm communicating about the world that we're in, now you're able to see basically life from my point of view. And that's the point of, relatability, right? That's the point of stories or movies or talking at all, right? The whole point of trees communicating and nature growing is that spaces are relating with spaces outside of themselves. That's the whole point of nature. So any religion that doesn't care about nature is an unrelatable religion, objectively, straight up. I just broke down how and why. If your religion does not care about the consent of other individuals, and your religion is claiming that your idea created everyone, seen and unseen, then that is a disgustingly evil, narcissistic religion. And somehow, people who believe in it have to spread it with love. Because they always act like, well, no, I want you to sacrifice your life to my idea. I want you to serve my imagination forever because I love you. Like, that's literally how indigenous peoples were enslaved by Europeans. Europeans are like, we need to rape and murder you and steal all of your creations and take all of your land because we love you. This is what God wants. This is God's love for you. You need to speak English instead of speaking your own language, and you need to practice our holidays instead of practicing your own, because this is what love is. This is why God loves you. Like, it's all just rape. That's complete esoteric rape, because the indigenous peoples have their own soul. And obviously, indigenous peoples have all of their own individuality. It's right there in the word. That's the point of being indigenous. You're an individual, so you can exist with other indigenous individuals. The whole point is understanding that every individual spirit is creative, and we are all choosing to create a circumstance where we can consume the same creations, right? So now we get into the energy of creators and consumers. If you're more of a creator, you're more in spiritual reality. Literally, you're more in your spirituality if you're creative, because you're connected to your space with your soul, which means that you're naturally bringing life from the inside out. That's what it means to be a creator. This is why we fast in Always a Saying Academy. This is why we fast in Chase Your Genes. This is why we fast with Tahuti, Hermes Trismegistus. This is why Symmetry is fasting. This is why Mercury is always flying. In general, the whole point of fasting is to be a creator and cultivate the life of your dreams from the inside out. Most people in this reality, most people we've been trained through the school system, especially, to think like this, right? We're trained to be consumers. Literally, the American population is called consumers. Capitalism has trained humans to view themselves not as creators, but consumers. This is why these religions are obsessed with teaching us that we're not creative, teaching us that we're consumptive. I'm literally Zoroaster. So I literally created the religion that Jews, Christians, and Muslims are using to say that they created the whole universe while also causing climate change. Meanwhile, you can look up how Zoroastrianism is very environmentally friendly. They're not going to be able to tell you why, all right? Only Symmetry can tell you why. And here it is, because nature is what we're creating to relate with one another consensually. So any religion that's coming out saying that you are not creating the ability to connect with others is someone who's trying to rape you. That's a religion who wants to enslave you, murder you, and use all of your energy to build their world. This is why Christianity, Judaism, and Islam stole all of my Zoroastrian and Hermetic principles to teach everyone that they need to go to heaven instead of being in heaven. Like, what, you're going to spend your whole life going to heaven instead of just being in heaven? Come on. And then that especially doesn't work when I know I came here from my own heaven. So I was born into this hell because I chose to connect with this simulation. I chose to fall from my own heaven and connect inside of this hell. I can't get convinced from this perspective that I need to go to someone else's heaven. And any logic that someone else uses as to why I need to go to their heaven is just a projection as to why they hate being alone. And all they can do is perceive me as a part of their projection. So now we have white supremacy. Now we have light supremacy. Now we have light people white people, calling me, a native man, an indigenous man, black. And now I'm supposed to lack my own space and feel like I need to get filled up by their light. So now I'm supposed to support the rapists who are murdering and enslaving me with my own creations. I'm supposed to support the system that's stolen everything from me because it can tell me that I'm not the one that created everything that they've stolen from me. Even though I can look me up on the internet and see how everything that makes all of these monotheistic religions matter is stolen straight from a messenger of Mercury. It is stolen straight from the mind of Mercury overall. Anyone with any sort of eyes, any sort of ears, or any sort of vibration can literally see this. It's not hard to see how this European New World Order is completely reliant on all the creations of Tahuti, messenger of Mercury, all the creations of Hermes, messenger of Mercury, all the creations of Zoroaster, messenger of Mercury, all the creations of Enoch, Metatron, messenger of Mercury, all the creations of Quetzalcoatl, messenger of Mercury, all the creations of Idris, messenger of Mercury. I'm not even going to keep going on. The whole point is these colonizers colonize. Anyone who's teaching you that you are not God is someone who stole the creations of another God so that they could somehow be more empowered to be a demon. So now all these monotheistic religions, specifically Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, that have stolen all their ideas from Zoroastrianism, are teaching people that they are not good enough. I'm so tired of feeling this way. All I was taught growing up, all I was taught in religion and school and this entire life, living in America, is that I am not good enough. That's all these religions taught me. As a child, anytime I'm reading the Bible, I read a lot of versions of the Bible growing up. They all just taught me that I'm not good enough, that I hate being alone, that I hate being by myself. And I've never felt that way. I've never truly felt that way. Yet now I have all these feelings and I have all this negative programming inside of my body and my memories because of how these religions have indoctrinated me to feel like they feel. The only reason a family could steal all of my creations as Mercury, as Hermes, as Zoroaster, and then teach me that I'm not the creator is because they are so demonically consumptive that they don't feel like they have their own imagination. So the only way they can relate with spaces outside of themselves is to steal our imagination and then tell us that we did not imagine it. So now, even though I can literally Google that the caduceus is a creation of Hermes Trismegistus, and I can see how the entire medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry and Europeans' whole idea of healthcare is just their twisted bastardization of how alchemy should work, should be enough for people to get that spirituality is real. Like, the fact that we can look that up should be enough. But this is the thing with lies and the truth. Like, all lies have to be supported by the truth. So yeah, you can look up the truth that Hermes created the caduceus, but the lie is that he's not real. So the medical industry will use the creations of Hermes. They'll use the creations of Zoroaster. They'll steal and use the creations of Tahuti, Odin, Quetzalcoatl, all these messengers of Mercury to build their business, to make their imagination matter, to make their money matter. Right? They can only make money by stealing from other people, but they're going to say that the people they stole from aren't real. You see how disgustingly twisted the system that built this New World Order banking world that we're in is? All the families that made money matter. This is the perspective that they did it from. Literally, I'm giving you their perspective. All of the families, the whole religious systems that created Christianity, Judaism, Islam, the banking system, and overall funded the Industrial Revolution to get technology into every country. This is the perspective that they're doing this from. They're stealing everything that they possibly can from the messengers of Mercury, from indigenous civilizations overall, so that they can teach you that you should hate yourself. And obviously, the only way that they could do this is if they hated themselves so much that they need to go out of their way to make other people hate themselves. And now we get war, right? Now we see why the Bible is full of war. Now we see why these monotheistic religions overall love to support slavery and love to rationalize genocide by saying, well, we're all expressions of one man anyway, so you just have to go with the flow and trust in going to someone else's heaven, and this language that we're speaking is so disgusting. All right? So it's important that you know this. All right, you know that this is where I'm coming from as a spirit before I even get into the language of this world. Okay, so I'm dissecting everything. Everything. That's my job, especially as a Virgo. All right, I'm dissecting everything. I see how everything works. This is why I, as Hermes, am literally the god of alchemy, the god of anatomy, the god of astronomy, the god of architecture in general. All these A's, welcome to Always Ascending Academy. So we're about to take a trip into the astral realm, all right, with a nice little song about reflecting on past lives. And after we come back from this astral realm trip, I'm about to get into my holidays and how coronavirus is impacting the way that I communicate with my family, and how coronavirus is created by the same exact families that created money and created these monotheistic religions to further trap people onto virtual reality and into a Black Mirror technological lifestyle overall. So let's fly, enjoy what we see up here deep in the waters of the sky. All right, it's a whole circle deep in the waters of the sky, and then we'll come back and continue building.
Chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat that womb to see if we can dance like asymmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to who teaches my guesses will be back soon. I'm busy chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat that womb to see if we can dance right. Asymmetry, triple balance in my seat. Spirits call me to who teaches my guesses will be back soon. I'm busy chillin' on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Reflecting on my past like an esoteric flashlight. Hey, what can I see? All the bodies that I used to be, all the hobbies that have my cheek to express how much I love to be me. I love to be seen, three to the tree, some of my leaves to breathe in the sea. My spirit's connecting with chaotic elements. They call me away, so I come for the hell of it. Shit or shit, pocket course, I'm with the helm of it. To who these will sell it? Hermes is free, I fly with peddling, powerful rebel. People to melt with, what else could I be but church to see? Tribbian realm twice C-H-A-S-L-E to see my O. Everyone knows I'm god of the moon, bucked on a storm, I can only know my perspective and roll in the show. Could you see its flow? I go into glow. Road to grow the garden in my soul. Heaven's a goal, so what should I show you? How light is a go-to? Substance spaces used to see the rooms where they get homeschooled. Cool to my waters I know. My nothingness I'm my own. Man of my colors afloat. Simulation with all of my soul. So many situations that I've saved. My planet to the semi-equality. My qualities, quantity, botany. Triple my tree, trigonometry, my angels be trying and ghosts like isosceles. Ooh, I'm a beast from the east, falling angles in astronomy, Mercury reigning in sovereignty. Communicate ever more consciously, just to kiss it, cause then ideologies ain't been fitting me. Consistently I grow in every industry, leave it in the dust where I'm in this, authentically cultivating on my winning streak. Maybe I'm in too deep, maybe I sin when I go to sleep. God's free to walk with a fire ski, to fly and free, and what's frequency, and frequently see what one dreams to be. Intent to vibration. all the wisdom I'm chasing. Circles back to my inner station in space. And ultimate thrills all over the place. I taste the thrills of my chase. To who the choice is to able my voice. You cannot afford it, still pays to adore us by bringing the chorus. All you're doing is words, your spirits adore us with grace. I dance and judge a desire. She calls me a gentle messiah. We fall in love to get higher. My pilots inspire when she breathes, release, turn my she's fire. Hermetic with a flow, let me spit that. Ecstatic with a show, let me kick that. Kinetic with a glow, let me hit that. Connect a little more, let me sit back. Yeah, deep into my Merkaba. If you can't fly, never heard of ya. Soaring high, my Merkaba. Gots to me, everybody heard of us. All cause of me, all cause of we. Magic manifest when we triple RC. Bringing to life everything we can see. Communicating everything we can be. Like what can I be? Like what can I be? Connecting so infinitely, there's no limit to what I can be. I feel me so deep, I chill in my beat. And don't speak of peace. Life under the sea is so deep, it'll put you straight to sleep. And that's not for me, so I'll be chilling on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Winds call me ends up, beat that womb to see if we can dance like hey, symmetry, triple balance in my sea. Spirits call me to t-shirts, Marcus, we'll be back soon. I'm busy chilling on the moon, just reflecting on my past life. Queens call me in to beat the womb to see if we can dance right. Hey, symmetry, triple balance in my sea. Spirits call me to teachers, Marcus, we'll be back soon. I'm busy chilling on the moon, chilling on the moon, chilling on the moon. I'm busy chilling on the moon. I just reflect on what I do. Then build worlds for the cosmic school. I just reflect on what I do and dive deep into my cosmic pool of winter springs to fall back into my summer. My God never wants to sleep or slumber. So my spirit used to slip to foot to become a human. Now my mind is undercover so I can connect in our cosmic sea. The universe to show me what I can be. So many simulations calling upon me to share hermetic keys. My plantation receipts, my tree Mercury. Flying, enter 5 cycles and now I'm dying. Mercury, flying. I've been summoned to 5 cycles, now I'm dying. So tell me what's the deal? I've been flying, I'm with you in 5 cycles, now I'm dying. Tell me what is real. I've been trying to connect the truth past all these white men lying. We need the truth to heal, so we can move up. Like I intend when I build cities that let us choose what we want to think and feel. So your individuality can come out to play, or else into a point in expressing your space. Or calling Callaway to say your dreams should be what you chase. When you open your eyes, you see reflection. Planet sky from your direction. Flex my mind and spend to reflection. Section bias, receiver projection. Text on Mercury, writing these lessons. Y'all made a hermity about theory, guys. I'm unpredictable, bringing these blessings. Don't be cynical, you never be a lesson. God of the moon, man of the sun, holding these cycles to learn how we run. I stop with the hell, it's 50-1, these CJ demons, so they can make a gun. Habits harness me when I'm nothing, my body stays steady bumping. My tribute cellular function, loving to dance in the sun. Now I'm a star, live with a car, taking me real far. Leave your home to find out who you are. Excellent stance to feel our heart. Arts and senses, R&B art. Indigenous height and invisible like part that we're seeing talk motors. Coming there from the start. Teachers in late, telling me start. Can they call it, but I'll chart that says your dreams should be chase. Your dreams should feel hate race. Constant change, don't stay in one place. My strength top here, standing in space. Minds connected, inspired, spreading the fire. Communicating water, cause constant desires. Time to be alone in the eyes and it's hard. Face outside of ourselves to fly higher. Ideas, that's what I want for your fate. I just want you to be great. Take carpe seas every day. Start Sharpie, stay in your lane. Hey, your dreams should build your chase. Your demons should freely erase. Constant change will stay in one place. Hey, your dreams should build your chase. My dreams to the bass drum to my music. My heart beats rhythm so I can use it. To connect with spirits to call me away from Mercury. Whether I'm Metatron or Mazda, to the fun place where you heard of me. Simulation, some of my consciousness I share wisdom from my esophagus. Cause I'm containing my confidence and waking any public spirit where the consequences come to a theme demons dominance over the world we're in. Let the games begin, shake, share their skin, just a lion again and greet you with a grin. Hermesy, it's cause colonized swing when I stay in, but the website spin cause your lies every day. God's call me Spider-Man cause I connect how we play. Before I go silent, just one thing to say. Your dreams should build your chase. Your dreams should build your chase. Your demons should feel here race. Constant change don't stay in place. Price right out so you stay in this space. Minds connected, inspired, spreading the fire. Creating the water cause causing desires. That's real, learning the eyes that inspires. Visit etc. So to fly higher. Hey. I built Metatron or Mazda, now I'm symmetry in the industry. When Metatron or Mazda, I've been symmetry. Are you listening? Are you missing things? I've been kissing rings, turning toroids into wedding rings. Yeah.
Okay. So, it's so weird. I don't even know if I can say coronavirus. Like, we're literally in this time where this technology and this new world order and the families that built this matrix type system, we're so deep in this AI algorithm that truly the whole point of naming all these viruses such specific, like actually copywritten names, like they're all Greek as fuck. So all they can do is just steal, okay? All they can do is steal from ancient cultures and make money off of it in a disgusting and depraved way. The fact that all these viruses are named like trademark names and like they're like copywritten and shit shows that people own these things. Like these corporations own these ideas that they're using to scare the world into thinking that air is dangerous and to thinking that we need to only communicate through virtual reality. Like they own all these concepts, and it's pretty wild that people, we're like 3 years in now, right? No, 2 years in. We're like 2 years in and some months. 4 months. Yeah, I am recording this in 2022, April. So we are 4 months and 2 years into this whole pandemic. And the algorithm, like, is specifically tuned to hunt for people who are speaking about coronavirus. Like, it is so weird. I don't understand, but I do understand because I have to. I'm Mercury and I communicate with demons and I see like all sides of life. So I know how these evil entities are operating, aka the shadow government or the JU world order or the Illuminati or whatever, the Masonic order, right? The free my sons, right? They want their sons to be free, but their idea of freedom is imprisoning you and stealing everything that we've created from our indigenous individuality, which is why Freemasons love raping indigenous people. This is why Europeans advocate for the rape of indigenous people. America is only built on the very consistent and systemic, brutal, violent rape of indigenous peoples in every single way, raping them mentally, emotionally, physically, and thus spiritually. All right, because no one can touch your space, but if someone can convince you that you are the body that your space created to observe how it feels about connecting with others, now they can make you feel like they're touching you, right? Like, just because someone grabs my body doesn't mean they're touching me. But because I'm vibrating this body into existence, I do feel like they're touching me. I have to know they're not touching me as a spirit, but in my soul, I feel like they're touching me, right? And then that's the whole point of vibration versus matter. Yeah, your body matters, but your body doesn't matter without a vibration. Your body doesn't matter without a heartbeat. Your body, your structure doesn't matter without a connection. Look at that. If you as a spirit were not connected to your structure, it would not matter. So no one can touch your spirit, but people can touch the structure that your spirit created to connect with other structures. So now we get the whole rest of life. Because now if you want to like protect yourself, right? Or if you want to be untouchable, this is all a mental communication thing. This is all about you cultivating a mental atmosphere that protects your earth body from the environment around you. So the fact that this world, right, the medical industry is using the caduceus to sell all of their products and make Googleplex dollars, right? Just infinite dollars, never ending money. They're printing money with my caduceus. The fact that they aren't teaching you the basic hermetic science of how your spirit creates a mental atmosphere that can sustain your body is disgusting to me. It shows me that they want you to be sick. They want to kill everyone on this planet, and they want to get paid doing it. All right, now we can see WALL-E. Okay, guys, like, look at the movie WALL-E. Like, everything I'm saying is only what they are actively projecting into all of the stories that they are constantly making money off of, yet again, because money is the God here, right? It doesn't matter what religion you have. If your religion isn't making money, it doesn't make sense. So now we can see why churches want to be tax exempt. Now we can see why religions want to focus on making money. And now we really have to look at what religion is using money to control the world. Because that's what it's about. And that's what I'm giving you right here. Mind of Mercury, okay? I'm Zoroaster. I'm Tahuti. I'm Hermes. I'm Quetzalcoatl. I'm Odin. As these messengers of Mercury, I've been building and creating spiritual systems that colonizers steal from me. You can Google it and just see all the infinite details of how they steal from me. And the whole point of stealing from me is that they want to use my creations to steal you away from yourself, which is why they don't talk to you about spirituality. They don't talk to you about cultivating a mental atmosphere. They don't talk to you about water fasting. They don't talk to you about raising your vibration. They don't talk to you about healing your body or how you were chosen to be born by yourself. As in, you were chosen by yourself to be born into this world. Okay, it's not about like you need to be chosen by someone else. You chose to come here. That's what I'm saying, okay? You were chosen. You are the chosen one by you. You chose yourself to express yourself. Okay, so you as a spirit are the chooser, and then your ego is the choosee. Okay, because that's all it is here. That's all it is. All right, just understand this binary relationship: 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Technology, computer life. That's your brain right there. 0, 1, 0, 1. Your spirit connecting with your ego. But if you want your ego to connect with other individual egos, then this is where you create a soul. And once you use your soul to combine your space with other spaces, now we create the universe. Now we have all of our spaces choosing to create a space that we can express our egos into in a way that allows all of us to communicate our imaginations into reality. Now we get nature. Now we get planets. Now we get all the structures that is life working, that now we see life working. I'm talking way before language and religion, right? Elements. This is the story of elements. As Tahuti, as Hermes, I'm talking about the story of elements. Life is simply elementary when you understand the story of elements. That's all Zoroastrianism is about. Fire and water, man and woman. Okay, so everything that Christians have, everything that Jews have, everything that Muslims have, Buddhists, everything that, like in Gnosticism, all the spirituality on this planet, on this simulation, comes from the mind of Mercury. It comes from the mind of Mercury communicating with other individuals. And then this is the idea of a soul group. Okay, so now you can see how Tahuti has his whole family, Hermes has his whole family. Like, spirits never operate alone. Nations are never built alone. Okay, so I as Mercury built my planet alone, but that doesn't mean that I'm connecting alone. That's impossible, right? I can build all my own shit alone. That's no problem. If you can't connect with it, then what are we doing here? Right? So that's the whole point of life. You can see why life is literally powered by water, by connections. You can imagine all of the nations you want inside of your own space. You can build all the things you want inside of your own space. That's cool, for sure. Have a great time. That being said, that's all expressions of your fire. That's your man. That's your imagination, right? So you have a lot of ideas, okay? You have a lot of intentions, but those are all literally separate from the universe. No one else can see what you're imagining but you. No one else can see what you're thinking but you, the spirit that is projecting these ideas into existence. So it literally takes you to connect with your own idea. This is what we call creating a soul, so that you can actually connect with other spirits who have also connected with their own ideas. Now we get the flower of life. This is me as Tahuti talking about the flower of life, talking about synchronicities, talking about how all of our souls are circles that mathematically come together so that we can build the grids that facilitate fields of reality and all that. Now we can play in fields, right? The whole thing is fields. The whole thing is atmospheres. Right? Air is literally water being ignited by fire. So you know that water is a circle and fire is the line. Now we can see air as really the flower of life, because all these circles, all these water cycles are linearly connected. Like you can draw lines through all the circles perfectly. And then from here, we box things out. Okay, so think of your mind as a flower of life. Your soul is a single circle, and your ego is a singular line. Your spirit is literally the eye, the observer, but the eye is nothing. So this is why eyes look like circles, because the whole point is if you want to see your ego, you have to create a soul. You have to connect with it. So you as a spirit can create an ego. You can separate from yourself for sure. But if you want that ego to be sustainable and relatable, then you create a soul. And this is literally what the idea of a soul is. So again, boo all these religions for stealing my wisdom and then not talking at all about the soul, yet they're going to put it in the newest Spider-Man movie. And that was like so wild, because I grew up watching all these Spider-Man movies, and this is so synchronistic just for me in terms of, my awakening journey and realizing that Spider-Man is literally an idea stolen from the mind of Mercury, and another idea that is meant to make money for the colonizers that are using him to push their imagination and their agenda. Because this new Spider-Man movie was about coronavirus. It was literally about forcefully injecting people who don't want injections and how that's a cure. They literally sold Spider-Man as a vaccine doctor man. Like they sold Spider-Man as a doctor, basically, who is supposed to heal bad guys by injecting them with fluids that he made up in his lab. And logically, we're like, oh yeah, these fluids are good because they're curing them. And it's just logic. You have no idea what's actually in that fluid. And then historically, we would have to look at the history of the people making the fluid to get a semblance on what kind of stuff could actually be in this serum that they want to put in all of our bloodstreams. Because you already see that the Industrial Revolution, the FDA, they allow insanely copious amounts of heavy metals to be all up in their baby food. They allow so many heavy metals and so many carcinogens and so many cancer-causing toxins and chemicals inside of the food that we eat. It's almost unfathomable, actually. And it's been like this for a long time. So if the FDA, if they can't afford to make sure that fast food, baby food, and in general, the food that we are given through their industrialized methods, if they cannot make sure that all this processed industrialized food is healthy, how are they going to make sure that a shot into your bloodstream is healthy? Like, how could the system that is poisoning you with sugar and poisoning you with heavy metals create something healthy for your bloodstream? And not only that, but the first shot isn't even enough. Like now, like you had to get constant booster shots. You have to get like multiple updates of the shot. Now it's like, oh, the disease won't go away, so it's just another flu shot. And it's just all about putting stuff in your bloodstream. I promise this medical industry is using the creations of Hermes Trismegistus to alchemize your body into something that will make them money. They don't want you to make your own money. They don't want you to make sense alone. They want you to make them sense. And the only way they can use the creations of Hermes, they can use a caduceus to make sense out of your body, is to poison it with chemicals and then tell you that you need their solution. They cause a problem in your body, and they're the ones telling you that they are giving you the solution so that now they can build literally a magic square. They can make money as the conclusion and create a whole government off of your sickness, off of your health. And they literally say that this is them caring about our health. So making everyone wear masks, by the way, that's not about protecting anyone's health. It's the opposite. Wearing masks is so incredibly toxifying to your lungs. It defeats the whole purpose of an atmosphere. It defeats the whole purpose of breathing in and out so that you can properly cycle through the nutrients and molecules of water that your body needs. If you're not able to fully breathe in and out, your body becomes full of, what do they call it in science? Carbon monoxide? Whatever. Your body gets full of chemicals that you're supposed to release, basically. Because your body's supposed to stay balanced in the chemicals that it's breathing. And breathing properly. This is why breatharians don't have to eat. Because literally just breathing properly allows you to obtain and absorb the chemicals that your body requires to function. Now you can see why fasting is actually super healthy. Like me as Enoch, like I was fasting way before Jesus fasted. Okay? Zoroaster was fasting way before Enoch fasted. All right? And as Mercury, I've been fasting way before this language and these concepts and really this reality was even a thing. Okay? So just understand the concept of going fast. All right? The concept of going fast is literally knowing that you are infinitely powerful when you are connected to God. And being fully connected to God is being in your full creative mode, not in a consumer mode, right? This is why when you're fasting, you become more creative. When you're eating, you're more consumptive. Eating literally makes you slower, right? Think about how when you eat, you use more energy to process and digest food. Whereas if you're fasting, you're actually using that energy to communicate and move. Now, based on how the environment, right, this white supremacist government, based on how America or Europe or just these industries have poisoned you up to this point, fasting will be hard at first. Yes. Like fasting was way harder for me at first because I was detoxing a lot of stuff out. And I was breaking a lot of habits. I'm breaking the way that I was trained to connect with reality up to that point. So this is where the fasting is hard for most people. Like the whole fasting journey is really difficult for most people because it's truly actually about breaking your mental habits. Because where the mind goes, the body goes, objectively. Like where you feel like communicating into, that's where you create a structure. That's what that means. Your mind chose to be born here because your spirit chose yourself. Again, you as a space are the spirit, and then you are experiencing yourself as the ego, which is the expression of your space. But the expression of your space has to communicate with other spaces in order to exist, which means that you have to connect with them first. So that's literally you going from spirit, ego, which is separation, and then soul, which is connection, into communication, which is your mind being consciously aware of the atmosphere that you're choosing to vibrate into. And of course, what does your mind create to stabilize that? A body. Now you can see why your body can only be manipulated by you. Only I can say these words as the mind that made Mercury, because I am the spirit that made this body, and this body only matters because of my cosmic soul. But my cosmic soul is the expression of one space. So no one can claim, no one else in reality can come up and talk about being Zoroaster. No one can claim, no one can come up and talk about being Tahuti or Thoth. No one can talk about being Hermes. No one can talk about being Ningishzida. No one can talk about being Idris. No one can talk about being Chikatet. No one can talk about being Odin. All right, only me. No one else outside of the mind that made Mercury can do this because these are all messengers of Mercury. There's more messengers of Mercury. The whole point is spirituality is individuality. But the lesson here is knowing that demons will always be demons. Demons will always be demons. So the moment you express yourself in the universe, if you're doing anything worth expressing, chances are people are going to copy you and act like they're you too. So when there's people out here acting like they're also Hermes or they're also Thoth, and then they want to say, oh, we're all from one source, yeah, and they're just clinging to things that they read on the internet, yeah, cool. That's the same exact energy that's going to be operating when I'm symmetry. And now there's going to be a point in life where if I don't keep myself connected with myself in the right way, that demons are going to be able to also say like, oh yeah, I'm symmetry too. I actually fasted and I'm a reincarnation of Chase Clarence Calloway and blah. Like, see, it will never end. The colonization will never end. Demons need to consume something outside of themselves to feel good about their ego. That's all Christianity, Judaism, and Islam do. That's really all these monotheistic religions have done. And then that especially goes for all the denominations and all the offspringings of these religions. Like, that's all they do. They consume the wisdom of Ahura Mazda, me. All right, Google me. Ahura Mazda. That's Metatron. All they do is consume the wisdom that comes from the mind of Mercury, from messengers of Mercury, and then they use it to teach you to hate yourself. When, if you're listening to Mercury, I'm teaching you to love yourself. Shit. Like, there's nothing else to do in life but love yourself. Once you truly love yourself, everything from there is details. Like honestly, just big facts, like biggest facts in the world, honestly. Like, when you love yourself, everything is details. But of course, the big journey, especially in this life, we have to decolonize a lot of shit in our minds, right? Because we're identifying with so many things and we're communicating in this language that was created to separate us from our spirit. So it's hard. It's having our spirituality on point here is hard. Like, this world is so infinitely demonic. I mean, I didn't really have a choice as to how my schedule would go growing up. I was forced to live out a life where I'm sitting through grade school, and then I sit through high school, and then I'm sitting through college. And in college, I got to work out way more than I did before. But the fact is, I'm living by a schedule that was created for me by people who stole all of my creations, but they're using my creations to cause climate change while telling me that I am not creative. And all I can do is help them cause climate change. And this is why my spirit has me on this path, because I have to build upon my past. If I don't reflect upon my past lives and stay connected with the messengers of Mercury, then colonizers are going to separate me from myself. And once colonizers separate me from myself, the universe is fucked. The universe is actually fucked. Like, I am the balance of the universe. I'm literally symmetry. See why my tree is planted here? To balance the universe, letting you know that you are an infinite individual. This is what it means to be God. It means that you are an infinite individual. As space, you are observing your own imagination. When gods want to figure out how to make their imagination make sense, they come to Mercury. So now you know why all these religions are obsessed with the messenger of the gods, Hermes Trismegistus, me, the mind that built Mercury to connect with the entire universe. Okay, so it's way bigger than any simulation. The whole point is Mercury is my own simulation that small ass simulations can call me away from once they want help setting up astrological systems, once they want help setting up some religions, once they want help building continents and building countries and just building simulations, building psychedelic simulations. Okay? This is why life is psychedelic. And just again, letting you know, like, I can't not be me. I can't not communicate from this perspective. All right? So this is where when I have my whole time with my family, when I go visit them for the holidays, it's really fucking hard because no one in this reality relates with me. No one in my life can understand where I'm coming from. Like, the only person who was close to really understanding where I'm coming from was my dog, and he's gone. But of course, him being gone is what actually gave me my awakening. Like, all this wisdom and information and my ability to communicate is upgraded from separating my mind from my body and hanging out with him in other worlds. And I've been doing that, and it's been pretty awesome. I mean, way more than pretty awesome. It's given my life all the meaning that it was supposed to have before. So thank you, Max. Thank you, Anubis. All right, he came in here. He was a dog with me. He was my dog. He's still my dog. He's always been my dog. I am forever his boy. And he built this whole organic bond with me inside of this whack-ass white supremacist system that is designed to just make money out of separating us from each other. So now I didn't get to spend time with him growing up like I should have. He had to be in the crate all day, every day, while I was stuck in a fucking prison all day, every day. I would have way more preferred, I would much rather, of course, spend time with my dog than be in school. Like, if I could change anything about this lifetime, it would be that I wasn't forced to go to school and be separated from my best friend. Fuck white supremacy. Especially for me to now just have to decolonize how all the shit that I was forced to learn in school is lies. So you're telling me I was forced to sit all day, every day in school, getting my teeth crooked, misaligning my spine. My spine is so fucked up from sitting my entire life. My teeth are so fucked up from sitting my entire life. That's why we have Decolonize Your Face. I've been healing myself. Now, I've healed myself very awesomely. I'm very grateful for my mind. I'm so grateful for my mind. So grateful for my mind. If you want to heal your spine and actually straighten your teeth on a permanent level, naturally, okay, without someone putting metal in your body and causing more problems that they're just trying to make more money solving later, then join our online course, Decolonize Your Face. All right. The whole point of Decolonize Your Face is knowing that you can straighten your teeth, and you should straighten your teeth, and straighten teeth happen naturally by having more space in the face. Braces destroy straight teeth. They may look straight, but they're not actually straight. Braces make your teeth more crooked, and braces worsen malocclusion by actually constricting and confining your teeth, by pulling them in. And I know this because literally I sacrificed my body and went through this system. I went through this lifetime. I went through all of this of dealing with these things and dealing with these doctors lying to my face about my own body, and me literally having to trust my spirit, trust myself every step of the way. I have to trust Iracel. I've been talking to Iracel through my subconscious mind my whole life about all these things, about all these topics, about health, about spirituality, about the world I'm in, about how communication works, about why we're alive, about how we're like connecting, all these things. It's all led me to fasting. It's all led me to psychedelics. It's all led me to separating my mind from my body so I can communicate in even higher, more aware ways. Because it's like every time I separate my mind from my body and I come back, I'm just naturally smarter here. Like I feel like it. I feel smarter. Like I feel like I regained greater parts of myself that I didn't even know were missing. And that's what all this past life stuff is, as a messenger of Mercury. Right? I'm taught from the government that I'm just Chase. I'm taught that Chase is a flesh suit that is experiencing himself for this certain amount of time. But if he wants real spirituality, then he can worship sacrifice of Jesus. He can worship the sacrifice of the one true Son of God so that he can be recognized also as a son of God and then go to someone else's heaven. I've been operating in that for most of my life. All right, so this is pretty wild for me, going on all these journeys, going on all these adventures, these mental escapades that I've been on. Because truly, just like, yeah, true Hermes mode. Like, this is where like I'm just super unrelatable to anyone who doesn't do this or doesn't really know what's up with this. The Merkaba. I, as Metatron, created the Merkaba to communicate to you how your mind is your chi area, the chariot of God. All All right, and this is what we can see in Jewish mysticism. They love to make money off the Merkaba. They love to make money off my mind. Objectively. That's all they really seem to know how to do. Every time I separate my mind from my body and become aware of other atmospheres, I create larger, bigger, and greater connections. That's what magic is, when you really think about it. Like, real magic is being able to create new connections. And the ultimate creation of connections is your soul. Your soul is the structure that is you as a spirit creating connections, literally. So you can think of your soul as your first body, and the ego is the idea that makes your body matter. Because just because you have a body, it doesn't matter, right? Think about, like, everybody has a body, but your body doesn't matter aside from what ideas you're using, or what ideas you are bringing into the world, or how you're using your body to bring your ideas into the world, right? How do I say that? Your body, just took this hit. Now my mind is flying. Hilarious. Your body does not matter aside from the ego that you are projecting through it, right? Like, this body does not matter to you if I did not have my own ego, my own soul, and my own mind, and my own spirit creating these things. If I didn't have a space, I wouldn't be able to observe my imagination. If I didn't have an imagination, I would not be able to express my ego. If I was not able to express my ego, I would not be able to connect with other egos, like your ego. And then if I was not able to connect with other egos, then I would not be able to communicate my ideas into existence. I would not be able to introduce them into an atmosphere or bring my light into an environment where everyone can see it. Boom, right there, natural. Okay, so that's all religions are ever talking about. Like, any religion, this is all they're talking about from a basic level. Which is why they generally call messengers of Mercury away from my space to talk to them about it. That's all they do. And just give them ideas, of course. And then they go out of their way and steal and then conquer and rape and murder and all this stuff. So it baffles me that people don't really care about the history of Christianity or the history of these religions like this. And really that shows me who is more in their soul versus who's more in their ego. So the people who are more in their soul, they care more about how life is connected. These are going to be your historians or your sociologists or your like social scientists, right? Like the humanitarians, the people who care about history, really, who care about the past and who care about the truth. These are the people who care about the soul. All right, so that's me. All right, that's me creating soul groups. Okay, I have many soul groups. All right, Odin has a bunch of soul groups. Zoroaster has a bunch of soul groups. Tahuti has a bunch of soul groups. Hermes has a bunch of soul groups. They're all connected to the symmetry. They're all connected to one large soul group that is really me as Mercury conducting communications throughout the entire universe. Thus, now we have me talking about how we all have our own individual souls and we all create one collective soul so that we can actually communicate with each other. And then this is where the whole point of any life is you finding your soul group in that life. And you can think of your soul group as your family. That's the whole point. So this is, what we are getting into here. The difference between a physical family and a spiritual family. And actually, I'm going to make this podcast a two-parter. Because it's about to get long-ish if I keep this up like this. But the point of then this episode 28, this is part 1 of me talking about the difference between a physical family and a spiritual family. And your spiritual family is what we would call a soul group. And the wisdom is knowing that your soul group is simply the spirits that you feel the most connected with and that you vibrate at the highest frequency with. So whatever you consider your soul group, these are the spirits that you feel comfortable vibrating at the highest frequency with. And then that's the idea of everyone leveling up together, right? But everyone levels up together in their own atmosphere. So once you have your soul group, that's a separate atmosphere. Like you're literally using your minds to cultivate a different life from all other soul groups. So this is literally what religions are. Literally think of every religion as one soul group. So there's a soul group that built Judaism, the soul group that is Christianity, and the soul group that is Islam. Now, of course, we know that Judaism created Christianity. So Christianity as a soul group is just a subsection. It's a branching off of Judaism. And then, of course, we know that all the denominations of Christianity are especially subsections and owned by Judaism. And now you know that, especially, you can look it up. Again, there's all the historians only know this. I'm just clarifying the air here because shit is really foggy and gross from all these industrialized fumes. We're clarifying how Judaism is stolen from Zoroastrianism. So Zoroastrianism is me as an individual space creating my soul group as the mind that made Mercury. And Mercury is the simulation that I built to conduct communication with all the infinite gods that create the universe. This is why I am Hermes, messenger of the gods, because I naturally do this. So the whole point is I'm always going to be an advocate for your individuality because I know I'm an individual. No one can convince me with the religion that is built with ideas that they stole from my spirit that I am not who I am. It makes no sense for me to get lost in the lies that were stolen from me expressing the truth. So now I'm supposed to support lies because these people have a new truth. And the new truth is that we're all expressions of their imagination. That's all I've learned going to church growing up. That's all I've learned really going to school growing up. That I am an expression of someone else's imagination. And I have to keep learning about that individual. And now that just gets me lost in the English language, which I wouldn't even be able to think about these terms in this way if the people who created English didn't use brutal rape and murder to take over indigenous lands. So, a spiritual family, for me, is Anubis. For example, my spiritual family, for me, that's Atlantis. This family has nothing to do with my physical family, technically, although I want them to. Because I want my families to be connected. Like, I want my spiritual family to be connected with my physical family. And I want my physical family to be connected with my spiritual family. And hypothetically, ideally, what has happened is that my spirit has birthed me into the circumstances where I have chosen and am in resonance with the family that is best going to receive me as Hermes Trismegistus. And then this is just how we naturally change everyone's minds and we change the world. Because my family is literally a bunch of indigenous individuals who believe in Christianity. Okay, so the next part of this podcast, this episode, this segment, whatever, next episode. In the next episode, this will be a part 2 where I'll actually be getting into the story time and the details. Just me unpacking. This will be like my little therapy to myself of how I felt interacting with my family over the holidays and how the interactions went overall and me processing my life and how I'm growing from here. Because It's really important to reflect, not just on your past lives, right? But on last month, last year, the last 5 years. Really important to reflect so you can connect with yourself, literally connect with how your ego has expressed itself, and you can learn how to better express yourself in a way that makes sense. Because that's really what life is all about. Like literally, you're talking to Mercury, okay? That's literally what life is all about. Life is all about connecting with your ego so you can express yourself in a way that makes more sense. If you just express yourself without really connecting with your ego, then it's not really going to make sense. It's going to be chaotic. So that's the idea of fire just going straight fire. And then that's where fire just becomes water. Because when fire just goes straight fire, no one's going to see it unless it's through water. And then that's where you get chaos. But if you connect with your fire, then this is where you create earth out of water. And that's you actually building a structure that can hold your emotions. And this is a structure that supports your spirit. This is how I built Mercury. This is how I build any simulation. This is what we do naturally. This is how the elements work. So truly connecting with your ego is water fasting. All right, actually connecting with your ego is being alone with your imagination in a way that allows you to make it real. All right, this is what every religion is about, objectively. Okay, this is why they all call me away to teach them Zoroastrianism, Hermeticism, and now Semitism. Okay, so no one can hold me down. All right, because I'm just introducing all these old concepts through something new so that it's actually relatable and it makes sense in a way that, again, people can't hold me down. Like, this is literally my infinite individual imagination. Infinite individual imagination. This is my my triple I, my 999, my 27. This is how I connect with my consciousness. All right, this is how I realize who I am. Literally. All we're going to do is build further, build upward, keep going. Because that's what nature does. That's what trees do. And that's what fire does through water, right? Fire is the expansion. Water is the contraction. Your ego always wants to expand. Your ego always wants to go out. But your soul forces your ego to contract so you can make the expression of your imagination make sense. Literally. You want to make sure that the expression of your imagination makes sense. And this is where your water is meant to contract your fire. And now these are the ideas of contracts, right? Literally, when you think of contraction, there's no better word besides a contract, because literally your muscles are a contract. When your muscles contract, that's all contractions. Those are all contracts that you willed into existence with your water. This is deep, but you see, this is life. Literally, your muscles are contracts that are connections. Literally, your muscles are manifestations of connections that you have willed into existence with your contracts, cosmic contracts. So the spirits that are creating your body are cosmically contracted to connect with your imagination in a way that allows you to manipulate these muscles and make your mind matter through material. It's pretty trippy. Life is so beautiful, guys. You see this? Life is so beautiful. Any religion telling you to hate yourself, boo. Oh my God, this I just explained how beautiful life is right there. It's so great. I am so happy I'm back because this world is so fucked. This world is so fucked by the imaginations of light supremacists. It's as simple as that. This world, climate change is purely being caused by the imaginations of light supremacists. And a light supremacist, all they can do is steal what indigenous individuals created to capture their attention. So the reason Spider-Man has resonated with me my whole life so deeply is because he is already an expression of my infinite individuality from Quetzalcoatl time. So Spider-Man is light supremacist version of Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is the Spider-Man. Like, that's stuff that you're not, of course, really going to see in history. Literally, I as Mercury have to share that with you. But the whole point as symmetry is me letting you know that we as spirits create nature to connect with other spirits. So Quetzalcoatl was the Spider-Man. And we can get deep with that because Quetzalcoatl is literally me as a spirit, as Mercury, combining the aspects of myself, which are Thoth and Hermes, to create a new version of me. So it's like me doing elemental alchemy with myself. And then this is how I can express greater aspects of who I am into the universe while building upon what I've already expressed. So now I can further, literally just no better word than build upon what I already built, which is my body. If I built these bodies in the past and my bodies have accomplished all these things and they're all expressions of my infinite individuality, why would I not keep building upon that forever and ever? And really, this is the true concept of Spider-Man that I'm talking to you about right now. This is symmetry as Quetzalcoatl. All right, the mind of Mercury letting you know that Spider-Man is a Mercurian idea because Spider-Man is supposed to be the 8-dimensional Gemini communicator. Right, the whole point of Spider-Man is letting you know Hermeticism. All right, Spider-Man teaches you Hermeticism. Specifically, he teaches you, or Zoroastrianism, he teaches you with great power comes great responsibility. Right, now the Bible got that from Hermeticism, we already know. Zoroastrianism, all right, just in general, the mind of Mercury. But the whole point of Spider-Man, in this case, is he's saying with great power comes great responsibility because when you know who you are, you have a responsibility to show up as that. And that's the power of being God. Okay, so we're taking it now to this level. When you know that you're God, it's actually now your responsibility to be God. And this is where we get spiritual discipline and fasting and spiritual practices, right? And, all these religions, all these systems have a bunch of spiritual practices. Awesome. Absolutely, right? It's all about honing in how you communicate your godliness from the internal to the external. So Spider-Man is a Mercurian idea because his whole point is that he is interdimensionally connected with all the other Spider-Men. And this is where we can see that there's actually one space that is expressing itself as Spider-Man. Spider-Man is not an idea that a bunch of random strangers or random spirits in the universe are consuming and then connecting on and then able to operate inside of. That's actually not really how it works at all. Spider-Man is one spirit expressing himself at different points in time, right? This is where we get the infinite timeline thing. When you know that the universe is actually infinite, then spirituality has to be individuality because only you can know who you are. Thus, it's your responsibility to collect with and connect with your past lives and to make that make sense. Otherwise, you're not actually going to really be able to express your infinite imagination into the simulation that you're in. And this is just my thing here is symmetry, where I have to build upon all the ways in which I expressed my imagination in the past to really make what I'm doing make way more sense. Yet what I'm doing makes way more sense than everything in the past. So I have the circle going. I've got my connections, past, present, and future. It's all now. So this is just the wisdom of awareness. Only you, as the spirit creating your mind, can be aware of what you communicated into existence through whatever body that you built with that mind. So that's big Aries energy right there, just about being I am, right? Only you know who I am, right? So only you can tell other people who you are, all right? So only I know who I am. Only you know who you are. Only I can tell other people who I am. Only you can tell other people who you are. But really, the way that you tell other people who you are is by expressing your imagination. It's just that, of course, we now all have our own infinitely individual ways of how we express our imaginations together, right? We all channel and cycle our elements together in a bunch of different ways. This is the natural alchemy of life. This is where we get vibing, right? Now you can see your astrological chart. You can look at your zodiac signs and see how each planet, which with each zodiac, is representing your personality based on the element in which your spirit moves. So you can learn a lot about your emotions from your elements. That's like the point of elements being emotional. Elements need numbers to exist, just like emotions need thoughts to exist, right? You can't just have an emotion without a thought. So that thought is a structure that makes an emotion make sense, right? Your heartbeat, if it was just beating into space, what good does that do? It needs to be beating into a structure. That's why you have a human body. Now, when you send a vibration out into space, it is connecting and being contained inside of a body that is allowing your spirit to manipulate itself outside of its own circumstances. And now we get literally physical reality where we're like moving, we're transforming everywhere all the time, right? Just connecting with each other, communicating. This is like where religion doesn't matter. Like what I'm talking about here, this is all the energy that builds religions. Like, this is why I'm the mind of Mercury. Like, people listen to me and build religions out of my stuff all the time. I just want you to build a religion that teaches you how to be happy alone. That's all. Like, these religions that people build, like specifically Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, like, they're built by people who hate being alone. And they just took my shit and want to convince everyone else to also hate being alone, because they hate being alone so much. They only feel good if they're convincing you that you need them. And then that's where we get all this logic of sacrifice yourself to Jesus, go to someone else's heaven, go to someone else's source consciousness, right? We're all expressions of one thing. No, my whole point is Zoroaster, my whole point is symmetry, is letting you know, as a mind of Mercury, that I, Hermes Trismegistus, in individual space, am consenting to connecting with individuals outside of myself. That is my soul. To make that make sense, I build a structure that the universe calls Mercury. Mercury is my simulation that spirits call my mind away from. Now I can use my mind to build a body in a simulation like this that we call Earth. Easy, right? This is a structure. Boom. We call this place Earth. I'm from Mercury, but I built a body inside of the atmosphere of Earth so I can communicate my mind into this world. And now I can connect with people in a grounded and relatable way. And that's what this whole life has been up to this point. Me sacrificing all of my individuality, basically, it feels like, almost all of it. I mean, of course, I can only still be an individual. So that's like the point of reflecting on the past and seeing synchronicities and everything and being like, whoa, nothing's a coincidence. Right? All that. Welcome to our podcast, literally. Right? That's the point. It's like you can't not be the individual when you step out of your space, because only you are expressing your imagination. And only you have connected with the universe in the way that you have up to that point. So you're going to keep connecting with the universe in the way that you are connecting up to that point. Like when I look at my past lives, I see how I've connected as Odin, Zoroaster, Idris, Ningish Zeta, Quetzalcoatl, Hermes, Thoth, all these messengers, so many messengers. I can see that they're literally all sent from my space. So they're all expressions of my soul, my ego being expressed through my soul. I could, I guess, use better words. I could say they're all connections of my soul and expressions of my ego. But only I, as the individual space, can actually see my ego and feel my soul. You can't feel what I feel. Our feelings are separated by space. The whole point of us creating a universe right now is that we feel like connecting with spaces outside of ourselves. So we're bringing our emotions into a structure, which is this body. And now we can see how every body is functioning inside of a bigger body. But every body in the universe is vibrating. So this is, again, just the alchemy of how reality is transforming. All right, so when people like have religious mindsets and just in general, don't think like this, I can't really relate with them. This is why I have to do a podcast like this. Or in general, this is why I have to talk to myself to build Mercury. And you're watching me build Mercury on Earth right now. So the same way that I've been building Mercury for eons through the past is how I'm building Mercury on Earth right now. Literally. By talking to myself. And this is just me now letting you know, as Quetzalcoatl, your friendly universe hood Spider-Man, seeing the 8-dimensionality of life, letting you know how you're doing the same. How you are constantly communicating to build a life that allows your dreams to be made real through your genes. Hence, chase your genes. All right, chase your dreams with all of us. I built Mercury by talking to myself. You built your life by talking to yourself. Every business was built by spirits talking to themselves. Thus, a business is going to be a representation, an expression of the individuals who were talking to themselves to create that structure. So you can take this down to the body, right? Your body is your business. So every body is a structure that was created by a space communicating in some consistent way, right? So now we can take this down even more to physical reality in terms of exercise. Boom, working out. If a spirit is consistently flexing their muscles in the gym and challenging their body with new weight, then that body is going to transform and the muscles are going to transform. And now everyone else is going to be able to see that this spirit is strong. This spirit has a built frame. And it's all because that spirit was communicating a certain way, right? That spirit had an ego and a soul that no one else could see. That spirit had an idea of what it wanted its body to look like, and it had feelings about what it wants its body to look like. It has an idea of how it wants its body to function. It has feelings about how it wants its body to function, right? Ideas and feelings. It has ideas and feelings about its body. So this is where it creates a mind that communicates to build a structure that can manipulate the body, right? This is now where we think about just anything in reality. All right, I'm talking about like your genetic blueprint. And just, that's like that Virgo energy of how spirits have to make sure that the connections are structured if things are actually going to be in business, right? Like you can't build a business, you can't get into your Capricorn energy if you don't have the structure as the Virgo energy. So your body literally wouldn't be in business, right? If your bones and your blood and your tissues and your organs were not structured, if these connections weren't structured. Like imagine if your organs and bones were connected, but they weren't structured. So it has Cancer energy, but it doesn't have Virgo energy. So now like literally Cancer energy, right? If your body's just a bunch of connections, that's Cancer. Like that's not functioning well. Virgo is like the sign of health. Virgo is the coach sign, right? Me is Mercury, here I am. Hermes, health coach. All right, Virgo is literally about structure, discipline, right there. Because that's how you conduct business. That's how you make your connections make sense. So now your connections aren't so chaotic. And now you're able to actually make money, which is where that Capricorn is really strong. Because everyone's trying to make money, all right? Everyone's trying to make sense, okay? We're using these words differently, right? The whole point is your muscles are your money. I can't find money in nature. I can't see money, but I do see your muscles. All right? So your muscles are your money. And any idea of money that you have is just the idea that inspires you to manipulate your muscles. That's all. Boom. Right there. Any idea of money that you have just inspires you to manipulate your muscles. That simple. So that is literally you watching alchemy play out. So whoever taught you that money matters is now your God. Because your idea of money is your idea of God. And then once you connect with that idea of God, you're willing to communicate in a way that upholds that idea. And then that communication builds a structure, right? This is how fire goes into water, goes into air, goes into earth. So once you connect with an idea, you're communicating that idea into a structure. And then that structure is going to actually make money matter. So money doesn't matter until the person who told you money matters can convince you to communicate for them. This is why slavery is a thing, right? We know that human lives are priceless. You can't put a price on a human life. But a white supremacist will come along and say that this human life is worth $100. And because they have $1 million, now they're allowed to buy the whole village of human lives. All because they made up an idea and projected it into indigenous individuals. This is like the whole history of this simulation, of this earth realm. It's so disgusting. It's so messed up here. Boo. 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 Shame on these monotheistic religions. Because the whole point of monotheism is to destroy empathy. See, like literally, they can't run from me. They cannot run from me as Zoroaster. They cannot run from me. They literally stole all of my shit and can only talk about it historically, logically, factually. It's just to what extent. And because they're lost in their own imagination, of course, they can only talk about how they stole my creations. They can't see it from the perspective of the actual creator. They can't see it from my perspective as the actual space that expressed itself to build these structures that have allowed other spirits to conduct business. Because that's all it is. I build the structures that allow spirits to conduct business. Literally. That's why you see the medical industry using my caduceus to conduct business. I built that to let you know how you conduct business, and here we are. You're tapping in to the root of the symmetry, learning about your body being the structure that your mind has built so your spirit can conduct business. And religion is the business meant to colonize your body. Right? This is why you could literally go through a lifetime where you believe in 100 different monotheistic religions. But then you can find yourself, after you believe in 100 different religions that are all saying that they are the one true God, they're all saying, I'm the one true God, and you believe that for like a time in your life. You can go through all those religions and then reflect on your life and be like, wow, which one was the one true God? Literally, the fact that you're asking that question, the fact that you, as the observer, even have the awareness and the ability to ask this question, oh, wow, who is the one true God out of all these religions, these 100 religions that I believed that said they're the one true God? You should know that you are the one true God. And now you can have empathy. Now you can see how all those religions are expressions of individuals who want to connect their narcissism. Like, it's just objectively that. All they want to do is connect their narcissism. So now they're going to say that Zoroastrianism was the first monotheistic religion. But when you actually look at me as Zoroaster talking about spirituality, none of that shit is monotheistic, guys. None of it. It's polytheistic as fuck. So it's infinitely individual as fuck. Everyone is an infinite individual. It's just about how history wants to twist reality and twist how we view everything. So they need to push this monotheistic agenda, even though when you actually look at the details of the past, none of these lies actually add up. None of these lies really make sense. So I, as Zoroaster, as a prophet of Ahura Mazda, I'm not talking about everyone being created by one God. I'm literally talking about how I have created the circumstance where I can connect with the universe in a more conscious way than other spirits. And that manifests as me touching down, being called away, as Chase call away, to give clearance for everyone to chase their desires. And that's where we build religions. Because really that's all religion is, like giving clearance to chase your desire. It's literally just about building a structure that supports whatever desire you have. So chase clearance call away. Chase clearance call away. Chase Clarence Calloway. All right, Calloway. So the whole point is I'm the synchronicity. Okay, I'm the synchronicity in my own life. I'm the no coincidence in my own life. And I've always been the no coincidence in all of my lives. So I'm only going to talk about how you are the no coincidence in your life, and thus how intentional everything that you've created technically is. And then this is where we get alchemy. This is where we get Hermeticism, Zoroastrianism, religions, literally belief in God overall, belief in anything cosmic, how does life work, science, basically everything that you can conceive from the mind of Mercury in this case. It's just all about communication, building the structure that allows you to chase your desires, to chase your genes, chase your dreams. Now you can create life with other individuals. Now you can have sex with spirits that make you feel good forever and ever. And then this is where you literally build your family. Right? So this is the idea of a spiritual family versus a physical family. A spiritual family are the spirits that you're connecting with on your imagination. A physical family is spirits that you're connecting with on your body or on structure. Right? So spirits who can actually see your imagination, these are spirits who are technically actually a part of soul group, quote unquote. Whatever soul group you've got going on, that's your body of water. And your body of water allows your fire to be seen by other individuals that connect to that body of water. So that's literally your soul group right there. Whoever feels like connecting to your body of water in that vibrational way is able to perceive your imagination. And then that's where they're actually vibing with you at a higher frequency. Whereas physical family, let's say you're born into a circumstance where you have a bunch of brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts and nieces and nephews and cousins and all this stuff. These aren't like necessarily spirits who are there to resonate with your imagination. Like, not necessarily. Now, luckily, I've picked a family that I'm pretty sure is, basically everyone, I naturally resonate with them in very awesome ways. So everyone in my family is super lit. But it is a spectrum, of course. They can't perceive me for who I am. They're all naturally amazing when I connect with them on their level, but they're not they're not trying to connect with me on my level at all. And that's the ego, right? So that's the difference between the ego and the body. Literally, they would tell me or would tell whatever, I would just be in my ego if I was trying to get them to connect with me on my level. So for me to connect with them on their level, I have to be in my body, right? I have to be in my structure, because that's literally what is connecting us. My imagination is not what I'm connecting on with my family, even though, in this case of Chase Clarence Calloway, because I'm talking about generally right now for all of us, but in this case for me as Chase, my cosmic duty is to show reality, and especially my family. The whole imagination that they're connecting on is stolen from my imagination. But I can't make them see that. All I can do is build a structure that is ready for them when they're ready to listen. And that's how you do it as God. This is how God works. That's God's way. That's nature's way. God's way is nature's way. All right, we're talking about nature. Okay, a tree doesn't go outside of itself to talk to other spirits. A tree builds a structure that allows spirits to talk inside of that structure. Totally different paradigm. This is what it means to be the symmetry. So this is our super spiritual safe space to just talk about anything that has to do with being infinite individuals. And that's everything, right? It's just we're doing it from the completely right perspective. When we know that we're all infinite individuals, choosing, consenting to connecting with each other, with our souls, so now we can express our egos through these chi air Merkabas that we call our mind. Now we can see why we can manipulate our bodies into existence together. And now we have empathy for where each person is coming from. We know how to listen. We know how to actually love, right? Because love and empathy are not the same. We know that one religion can love another religion, but that is not having empathy for another religion. Christians loving me is not having empathy for me, because Christians, their idea of loving me is telling me that I need to get raped by their family and serve their idea of heaven and sacrifice my life to them. And now they don't have empathy for the fact that I'm literally the spirit that built the religion that their religion stole all of their spiritual ideas from. So because they don't have empathy for that fact, all they can do is project their idea of love at me. And their idea of love is completely separate from me. It's literally just them showing me that they desire to eat me. They desire to eat the environment that they're in. So they can't perceive me past my body. And this is the problem with these religions. Like, they have people lost and trapped in the body. This is what it means to be demonic. All right. That's why these religions are demonic, like from an energetic level. Because they have us really trapped in the body. They have us really trapped in the details of earth. And that's where all the flow, the chi, our souls are like blocked off. And now we have all this disease. And now people can't vibrate right. Now people don't feel like they can resonate or like get along. Because everyone is like so separate in their demonic beliefs and not able to actually have empathy for how we are all separate, but we're choosing to connect. Instead, they're scared of being separate and they only feel like they can connect on one idea. And now multiple people can have this idea of what it means to be one God. And now all these different religions that believe in one God can fight each other. It's so stupid that Christians and Muslims hate each other when they both worship Jesus Christ. So you can see that this is literally set up by the people who made up Jesus Christ. And the people who made up Jesus Christ stole all of that energy from Zoroaster, being the prophet of Ahura Mazda. Objectively. Like, that's objective history right there. Right there. Very objective history right there. It makes no sense that people who worship the sacrifice and prophet known as Jesus Christ would fight each other, unless the people that made up Jesus set this up to make money off of war. Okay? Objectively. So these religions are only meant to make money off of keeping humans in a demonic state. And it goes very deep. Like, I just took us like kind of deep right there, but I'm not going to get too much deeper because that's not what this podcast was specifically about. But it is. I mean, this episode is. It is literally about the difference between a spiritual family and a physical family. And I just explained that that is a physical family right there. Like religions, they eat the spirituality of others and then use it to control physical reality. And that is the expression of a very physical family, a very demonic family. Demon energy is literally eating the creations of others and then lying about it. That's like so demonic. That's so demonic. And that's all these religions have done. And history will show that that's what they've done, but it doesn't really matter when they have so much influence in the world like they do right now. Right? Like all these systems, especially the banking system. That's all the families that stole this spiritual wisdom from Zoroastrianism, objectively, so that they can enslave the whole world. So look, all right, I am literally the individual spirit. There is no one else that built Mercury except me. Mercury is a simulation that sends out messengers to conduct Caducean business with other simulations. So I'm consensually choosing to connect with this simulation from my own simulation because I am on a business trip. Okay, this whole life, everything that I'm doing here, this isn't for my pleasure. This is for my business because Mercury is my business. All right, my body is my business when we get down into it. Okay, so now we can see this reality. All right, especially after all this fasting, a system that's stolen all my creations to cause climate change and poison humans is not going to convince me to let them shoot me with the chemicals that they made up. Even if they get my favorite character to do that to 5 different villains. Even if they make it the main plot line of my favorite superhero movie, they are not going to convince me that that is smart because no part of my body, after all of this fasting and connecting with my spirit, feels like I need their shit. And if they are pushing so hard that I do need it, it's literally no different than them raping and murdering Native Americans because they're saying that we need Jesus. And now I have to deal with all these comments and people messaging me from TikTok and shit about how I need Jesus and how I need to sacrifice myself to them. And they have no empathy. They have no care for who I truly am. They just want to project at me very limited, whack ideas that were stolen from my much greater and bigger imagination. Like, literally everything that these Jews have as far as their imagination about Game of Thrones, their imagination about Star Wars, their imagination about Superman and superheroes and cosmic battles, it's all Zoroastrian. This is all Zoroastrianism. It's literally all me as Ahura Mazda, the mind of Mercury, communicating about how spirits create atmospheres by combining fire and water. And these atmospheres create the life of our dreams. As simple as that. The life of your dreams is cultivated inside of the atmosphere that we call your mind. And this is where the universe is completely mental. All right, that's the alchemy. This is the whole point of being alive. It's so sad here. This is so messed up what's going on in this realm. And just how hard these banks are going and destroying everything because they're obsessed with light. Like, it's literally like money doesn't even exist in nature. But all these people are willing to destroy nature so that they can have an imaginary idea. You can't eat this idea. You can't have sex with this idea. You can't like really create life with money. All you're doing is consuming other people's creations with money. But it looks like you're being creative, right? Because you're transforming what was already created by someone else. That's all money does, right? People pay money, now they can cut down trees and turn it into paper. And now they act like they just created mail. When really they just stole resources from some indigenous spirits without their consent and turned it into a system that only they can profit off of now. So look, I'm symmetry, okay? I'm Zoroaster. I'm really the champion of nature. So I can't not see all of reality from a natural perspective. I can't not. And that's what my whole life has been. It's just about putting all the logic on it. Best believe when I was a child, I was thinking like this, just not with the logic behind it. Just not with all of these extra words and connections and historical things I could throw out, because that wasn't the development, right? I literally developed through school and grew up and shit. Best believe I've always been the same spirit, and I have always felt the same about nature. So this is where all of these lessons and all of these teachings are coming from, objectively. All right, so next episode, we are about to get into my experience with my family. It's going to only be about coming from a place of love. Like, I love them a lot. This is literally all about me learning, okay? Me learning about the situation I'm in and basically kind of doing some self-therapy and allowing you to get a glimpse on me reflecting on how I connect with the individuals in my life. And this will allow you to now be able to reflect on how you connect with the individuals in your life. And especially if you're someone dealing with the same circumstances that I am, this will be really helpful for you. This will be very relatable. You know, we're literally in a world where most people, especially like family members and stuff, are pressuring other family members into feeling ashamed if they didn't get the shot. And in general, we are in a psychologically toxic world where families are arguing over coronavirus and arguing over who got the shot and not, and like arguing over the news. And this is how these JUs are poisoning the family dynamic with the news. And everyone believes in the news, and the news can just project fear all day, every day, and then say that we're all responsible for the deaths that are happening. And now everyone's fighting each other. And now we can see why Mars is the third day of the week, because the whole point is to make people fight. and to make people's minds be super Martian. Now, naturally, the mind is kind of Martian, for sure, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. The structure doesn't have to be set up that way. And we're just really seeing that the relationship with it, especially, is really aggressive and really warlike. It's not passionate, even though people are passionate, but it's aggression. It's war. So hopefully this will be helpful for anyone dealing with the psychological warfare of having family members and other individuals trying to make them take the shot, trying to make them get shot, trying to make them get an injection of fluids into their bloodstream and have a bunch of stuff all up in their heart, because it's going to help you, even though you're going to have to do it multiple times. And even once you do it 4 times, you're still going to have to do it more, because it's never going to end. Yeah. Hopefully this will be helpful. To all my subconscious warriors, stay strong. We're leveling up for infinity and beyond. All right, it's awesome to be an infinite individual. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.